Discrimination in the workplace can sometimes go unnoticed by the majority. According to Stephen Hammond, president of Vancouver-based Harassment Solutions, Stephen sat down with Canadian HR Reporter TV at the 2013 HRPA conference to talk about the direction that HR can take on this issue.
You suggest employers move away from the term diversity. Why is that?
A number of years ago, I was at Cenotaph on November 11th, and after the ceremony is done and the parade goes through with the oldest veterans, then the most recent veterans, and then the paramilitary organizations, and then the kids in cadets and various other paramilitary groups. And when they go through, it struck me, right then and there, it was just one of these epiphanies. I thought, this isn't diversity, this is Canada. Because what I saw is these kids look so different than when I grew up. Now, by rights, this shouldn't be a big surprise, but that's when it hit me. And I thought, the difficulty is the amount of times I'd hear people say, oh, we did diversity last year, or we did diversity last month. And so I realized that there's way too many times when we think about the word diversity, we think of us and them. What I want people to do is really think of, this is Canada, these are all Canadians. When you have to accommodate someone based on religion or based on a disability or based on something that is different than what your policies allow, I don't want people to think that that's some weird thing. It's like, oh, right, okay, we need an accommodation for you because, well, our policies are set up for something that's been around for like 100 years for the majority. Don't worry about it. We'll find a way to accommodate it, or what's some of the maybe negotiations back and forth to make it convenient for the workplace as well.
What are some trends about the changing faces of Canada?
One of the things that Stats Canada said a number of years ago is that they expect that the net population growth coming from immigration will happen sometime between 2025 and 2030. So that's not too far off. That's just 12 years from now at the bottom end of it. And so that means for all of the people born in Canada and dying in Canada, any of our population growth, when those numbers are reversed, will come from immigration. When they also did the research on when is our net employment growth going to come from immigration, to everyone's surprise, it was actually 2011. And then when you look at who is coming to Canada, it's not like my grandparents, who were 4 white people from Europe and from the United States. The fact is that most of the people are coming from Asia. As a matter of fact, the top source countries are Philippines and China and then India. And so if the vast majority of people are coming here who again are different than the grandparents, then that means that you've just got to be, you've got to be accepting of the change and not just sort of assume, oh yeah, everyone's fine and everyone figures it out and this is a multicultural country. You've actually got to make sure that you're keeping in line with those trends.
Are there any obstacles to this?
While I gave some of the stats about the changing demographics, I actually talked about the stuff that gets into our head. And when we got refugees coming to the country and you've got federal cabinet ministers saying they're all terrorists, we have this view, and as a matter of fact, the polls show that our view is that immigrants have more crime. And yet what I did was I brought up a well-researched study in Toronto, actually from the University of Toronto, where they looked at crime rates in these immigrant communities in and around Toronto, and they found that crime was significantly reduced in those areas. So if our stereotypes actually say there's more criminals amongst immigrants, if our stereotypes actually have negative thoughts about immigrants who are coming here or someone based on their color of skin and their religion, that's stuff that we think is things that we read in the paper at our homes, we think it doesn't infiltrate the workplace, and it does. And all of us have stereotypes, all of us have prejudices, all of us. And so I tell people, come to grips with the fact that you've got them. Don't try to get rid of them. I mean, well, if you can, great, send me the formula. But for the most part, when you're dealing with a person, an opportunity for someone to come work for you or people who are there, then make sure those stereotypes don't get in the way. That, to me, is the biggest thing that all of us can do.